This is inevitable. Adding another body to the linebacker room in Sonny Styles, the 7th overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, means a guy like Nick Bellore is probably on his way out. That's what we'll be discussing right here on Commander's Digest. What's up, everybody, and welcome in. I'm your host, Carl McManus, and I love the Sonny Styles pick. Even though it's a linebacker at number 7, he is the best linebacker in this class. Washington low-key gets a position of need after Bobby Wagner hit free agency. They haven't re-signed him just yet. They said they're leaving the door open, but they get younger and faster, like Adam Peters wanted to all offseason, and they get a guy that's very athletic, something that Adam Peters has also shown that he is pretty keen to with his additions so far in the 2026 offseason. So with that, Sonny Styles added to this linebacker room. That probably means a guy like Nick Bellore is on his way out, and Caleb Skinner of Sports Illustrated pretty much saying the same thing. Sonny Styles, Frankie Louvu, Leo Chenal, Jordan McGee probably means that Nick Bellore, already pretty slim pickings on defense when it comes to getting snaps, has run his course in Washington. Yes, he contributed on special teams. He was the third alternate for the Pro Bowl for the Commanders special teamers this past season, of course, behind Tressway, who got it, behind Jeremy Reeves, who was the second alternate, and then Nick Bellore was the third alternate. So his special teams role could probably be taken by Kay Madrano, a 6th-round pick in 2025, and Ali Cajo, another guy that the Commanders are pretty high on in terms of developing him, most likely for a special teams role. So taking a look at the depth chart, I've mentioned it. I love what Washington has done on defense so far this season. Obviously, with Daronte Jones being the new defensive coordinator, Washington had their pick of the litter with how they're going to redesign this defense. But with that being said, that reminds me that today's video is brought to you by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is America's #1 sports picks app, and it is the best way to get in on the action. In fact, I'll show you some of the picks I'm making a little bit later in this video, but for now, download Prize Picks using the link in the description, and don't forget to use promo code DIGEST because it really helps this channel out. Now, I was talking about the Commanders' defense and how Adam Peters had the pick of the litter when it came to revamping this defense, and that's exactly what I mean. Daronte Jones is most likely bringing that 3-4 base defense here to DC, but he's also mentioned that it's not how they line up, it's how they wind up. So we'll see 3-4 as the base. We'll see some 4-3, which the Commanders ran previously. We'll see some 2-5 heavy. We'll see a lot of different things to disguise and disorient the offense when it comes to what the Commanders defense is looking to do. But Sonny Styles pretty much slots in right where Bobby Wagner left off. He might even get the green dot as early as the first game of the season. Now that could also go to Nick Cross, their free agent addition, who will most likely be a box safety, or they can, continue with Will Harris, another guy that had the responsibility is the word I'm looking for, had the responsibility of making those play calls, adjusting the coverage for the secondary at least. So all those are possibilities when it comes to who will be the play caller for Washington on defense. But Sonny Styles has been talked a lot about as a very smart, very intelligent guy. So he'll be the right inside linebacker almost immediately. Frankie Louvu will be to his left. And Leo Chenal, I also see him, I see him slotting in as well. Now, like I said, it's going to be a lot of different disguises. While Washington, yes, a 3-4 base, I see them getting opportunities where Frankie Louvu, Sonny Styles, and Leo Chenal are all on the field at the same time, with K'Lavon Chaisson as an edge rusher, with Odafe Owe as an edge rusher. So again, that 2-5 heavy that I mentioned, 5 potential linebackers on the field at the same time, with 2 up front, probably Daron Payne, Javon Kinlaw, Tim Settle, Johnny Newton. They've got a bunch of different options when it comes to disguising this defense, making sure everybody gets on the field. But again, getting back to Nick Bellore, special teams guru, we've seen it, again, like I mentioned, was the third alternate for the Commanders this past season for their Pro Bowlers. You see a lot of his snaps really just come on special teams. Only 8 snaps as a box linebacker this past season for Washington. Again, he wasn't brought here to be a defensive player, which is, again, why I think that he could be on the chopping block, like Caleb Skinner of Sports Illustrated said. But also, they've got younger and faster guys coming up when it comes to contributing in special teams, just like Nick Bellore has. You see 71 snaps in kick coverage, 91 in kick return, 54 in punt coverage, and then 43 in punt return. So Nick Bellore, that has been his primary role with the Commanders over the past few years. We're not really looking at grades. They're not going to grade a linebacker that primarily plays on special teams all that fairly when he does get defensive snaps. But my main point was that Washington can replace what Nick Bellore does in terms of special teams with the guys that we've already mentioned. I don't think Jordan McGee is playing too much special teams. This is a guy that, in fact, we'll start with Jordan McGee first. This is a guy that, of course, was a 5th-round pick for Washington out of Temple in 2024, Adam Peters' first draft. They've expected to, kind of move him into playing more on the defense, but adding a guy like Sonny Styles, adding a guy like Leo Chenal, still having Frankie Louvu, who's on a 1-year deal, essentially. His contract with the Commanders is up after this season, but they've been hoping to slot Jordan McGee into one of those defensive roles, getting more snaps on the defensive side of the ball, but he's also a guy that's been playing mostly special teams. You see 271 snaps at box or in the linebacker spot this past season, which is actually pretty considerable considering he'd only had 8 defensive snaps, or 16 defensive snaps all of 2024. You see, he also contributes on special teams, so he will have some of those special team snaps. But a guy like Ali Cajo, who they mentioned, and then Kay Madrano, who was the 6th round pick in 2025. I always get that wrong. I used to say 5th round pick, but I finally got the correction. Kay Madrano, 6th round pick. You see, all of his snaps were on special teams. He didn't play a single defensive snap in his rookie year, kind of like Jordan McGee, only playing 16 defensive snaps in his rookie year. So Kay Madrano probably taking that Nick Bellore role, being more of a contributor on special teams. Maybe he'll get some defensive snaps. He's got a lot of speed. Remember, he ran like a 4.3 coming out of UCLA, which is why the Commanders picked him up. Used to be a wide receiver before transitioning to linebacker, which shows you that he has the body type, 6'4", over 230 pounds. But he'll pretty much pick up that Nick Bellore role. Let's just face it, Nick Bellore wasn't always that special. Yes, good special teams contributor. I feel like just under Jeremy Reaves, he had the either most or second most special team snaps. He had the second most special team tackles behind Jeremy Reaves. So he contributes when he's on the field. But Washington getting younger and faster, the guys that they've already drafted, Adam Peters specifically, it's not holdover draft picks from Ron Rivera's era. Guys that Adam Peters has already drafted, Kay Madrano, Ali Cajo, sometimes Jordan McGee, of course, with the new addition of Sonny Styles. They'll probably take over that special teams role from Nick Bellore, making a guy like him expendable. Forgive me for losing track of the English language for a second, but Nick Bellore, again, a 30-year-old, he'll be 30 years old now, or 37, excuse me. Wow. He's 37, just turned 37. So obviously the Commanders can already pencil or cross him out of that depth chart that we looked at just a second ago, getting those younger and faster guys in this lineup and eventually taking over for those old heads. Yes, I still want a guy like Von Miller to come back, be a pass rush specialist, teach the young guys how to perfect a pass rush move. But ultimately, they're getting those slow older guys out, which a lot of fans complained about in the 2025-26 season. But I've reached the end of this video graciously, which reminds me that it's time to give you some of my prize picks. So for my prize picks, I'm looking at Orlando Pride versus Racing Louisville tonight, and I have Barbara Banda going for more than 2 shots on target. You see here, she averages 2.8 over her last 5 matches. So I have Barbara Banda and the Orlando Pride pretty much dominating time of possession against Racing Louisville, which means that I have Racing Louisville's attacker Emma Sears going for less than 1.5 shots. Not just shots on target, but shots, period. She doesn't even get that many attempts because, even though she's averaging 2 over the last 5 games, I just see Orlando dominating possession in this one, not allowing Racing Louisville to have that much time. But as always, use your sports knowledge to make your picks. Download Prize Picks using the link in the description, and don't forget to use our code DIGEST, because it really helps this guy out. Thank everybody for tuning in and for supporting this channel all this way. Really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys next time at the Commanders make some more picks.